I have finally seen it. This is Calcat, the Calcaster. And I have finally seen Parasite, which won the Oscar for Best Picture this year. Going into the movie, I thought for sure the Oscar people were completely full of it and hadn't actually watched the movie. Leaving the movie, I can safely say my idea was confirmed. I don't think they watched this. I think they thought, oh, Cannes Film Festival gave this movie the best award, so we're just going to say, oh, it must be good. Because we sure as heck are not going to give those other movies around there that from this year that totally deserved it instead. Joker, Little Woman, that kind of thing. I won't mention the Avengers movie because really, Avengers Endgame, okay, no. That's not. But for action picture, I guess. So playing the devil's advocate, kind of, and playing both sides. The people on the internet complaining about the movie that it's subtitled in Korean are also wrong because they probably don't go to see foreign films at all. The ones that are complaining the most are like, oh, I had to read. That's not a complaint. That doesn't mean the movie's good or bad. It's got that wrote Snowpiercer, which is a weird movie. But a number of other things. Yeah, so Bong, Dr. Bong. How can it be bad? It's a dude named Bong. Except now I'm told it because it's totally legal. It's not fun anymore. Anyway, so Bong, Director Bong. Bong Joon-ho. It doesn't mean that, though. It means, I think Bong in Korean is stick. So, stick man. Anyway, so, fighting stick. There's some confusion as to what the other group is. So basically, in the movie, the kind of plot spoilers. Everybody's seen it. Okay, it's basically about these con people. It reminded me of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels from like 30 years ago, which was Danny DeVito and Bette Midler and as con artists. Also The Sting, a little bit of that, a little bit of Tin Men. But as a Korean sort of messed up family, maybe a little bit of the Munsters in there, I thought as well. A little bit of that. Not so much Addams Family, but Munsters, because they're a little disturbing. Not directly, but a little bit, like they were inspired. Also, there's a lot of Korean stuff. Korea is of course split in half. You have South Korea and North Korea. We have it had a history of being taken over time and time again by other countries around it. So there's influences from China and Japan and Hong Kong and everything all around. Other Asian countries, a little bit of India in there. So there's all these influences of different things, and the Korean language is a derivative of the Chinese kanji, Japanese kanji, and all that stuff. So you get some words that are kind of Americanized. Studied a little Korean from Taekwondo practice for 18 years. Instructor thing. So I do a little Korean. So I liked the Korean jokes in the movie. I got it. I understood it. I suppose those people that don't understand it are the ones that didn't. I don't understand Korean that well, but I mean I understand the movie and what they were doing because I knew several of them. Also, in ESL class, there's several Koreans that love this movie. Go and see it. My English is a second language teacher. That doesn't matter what the students were doing. I'd rather just review the movie. So the picture is about these misanthropes who live in a half basement, it's kind of like the side basements that we have here in California, in that it's a half basement. So you kind of have some houses that are split level and there's half basement. It's kind of what they were talking about. So their houses like that, like the house from the Star Crackers movies. split level. This is not one though, but that one was. So the Korean movies tend to be a little more literal, I guess you'd say. A little more. It's not abstract. It's very pretty looking movie. Even when it's not pretty, it's pretty looking. They have all the lighting, the cinematography. It's enough to dazzle the Oscar people into saying, let's give it an Oscar without even watching it. I can see why they would do that. Foreign film, yes. Best foreign film of the year. But best of the year? Not quite. I mean, it's up there. It's one of them, but it's not the. I think Joker is actually a better movie. Anyway, so... but Little Woman is a little bit better than the Joker movie, so there you go. Actually, the Mr. Rogers movie is a better drama in terms of being a drama. Than this one, but yeah. So you have, but this is not. This is a dark comedy, and unlike some other American dark comedies, it clearly stabs at dark comedy. It goes there. It says, okay, this is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels meets The War of the Roses, only better than War of the Roses. This is kind of like that one where they were on a train, not the American one, but the Korean one. It's also similar to the Killers and that Star one, the Superstar guy one. It's kind of a messed up dark comedy there too. It's sort of well, of course that one was Superstar one was more of a ripoff of or an homage to King of Comedy, as was Joker. Anyway, so here we have Parasite. The scene with the guy stepping out and there's like legs. It's in the trailer. It's like a shot from the movie. Isn't from the movie, so that might be misleading right there. There's this lawn chair scene with the corpse that they show on the poster is not in the movie. Now, if you've seen the trailer, you've probably seen a lot of the movie in terms of what's going on because they had to like dub it in English. It is, and I suppose and that's cool. So we have this misanthropic family lives in the slums of a Korean city. I don't think it's Seoul. I think it's somewhere. It doesn't say south. Maybe it does. City and Parasite, and they learn about this rich family through their friend that's a college student who is kind of unsavory. He says you should go over to this rich family and get a job there and as a tutor of the teenage daughter that he's got he's sweet on her, gonna go to college and like that's a little weird. But it's a Korean film, so yeah, I think it's R-rated. Nothing happens so spoilers. Nothing bad really. The guy gets hired. The son, who's I think he's like 18 anyway, so she's like she's of age. She's just a teenager, so I think they didn't. She's supposed to be of age. Yeah, so it's okay. She's 18, but still, it's a little weird. The Oscars clearly didn't see that part. They skipped that over. Didn't watch that part. They probably just watched misanthropes, and that'll be cool. Yeah, people achieving something and going beyond their goals and their status to take over the rich house. Great, I'll give it an Oscar. That isn't what it's about, though. They are clearly supposed to be bad guys. They are antagonists. They are criminal fraudsters that go to this house and they didn't do anything to deserve it. They just go there, and each one of them gets hired through surreptitious means. They get the chauffeur fired by leaving like her underwear in the car. They never do a DNA test on it to see where it came from. They get the maid fired. They accuse her of having tuberculosis, so that they cleverly she's allergic to peaches, and they put peach on her, and somehow they don't figure that out. I don't think it takes place over very many days either. I think it's just a few days. The other guy becomes there's an odd scene where the guy wants to become the father guy of the Kims. That's the Kim family are the antagonists. Goes to a dealership and gets a Mercedes Benz, and then he's the chauffeur. How did he get one? Did the rich guy give him one somehow with the money? Because that's not clear. He just has a car all of a sudden. He can drive around. He's really good at it. So that didn't really... I mean, they kind of established that he actually originally had a smaller car later on, but they didn't establish that in the beginning. So, driving around in a little, like, a little Mini Cooper or something, which makes sense. Delivering pizzas. They were delivering pizzas. They weren't very good at it. So they decided to do love of crime as con people. The Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is more of a comedy, though. Anyway, so this one, they're conning the Park family. Kim and Park, like the two, that's like Smith and Jones in America. Smith, Jones. Kim is like Smith. There's just a million of those out there. Kim. There were even 3 or 4 unrelated Kims at the Jung Swan thing years ago at the martial arts school. They were unrelated. They were just called, their last name was Kim because they were not related. But yeah. So we have the rich people. They're sort of upper class because the class system in Korea is different than here. The poor are really poor, and the middle class are considered rich, and there really is no middle class. It's the poor and upper class, and then rich. They're upper class. They keep saying that over and over again. So they're not really super rich. They're upper class. They're kind of like their version of the middle class. Often confusing when generations before they have previous ones that aren't... that were poor, but their relatives became upper class, and then they jumped to the upper class level. Yeah, like some of the Swan people did. Anyway, but in this case, yeah, they're upper middle class. They have a nice house. They have a hyperactive kid who likes Indians. They keep mentioning that. Comes to play later on with the Indians. And an attack on the house. Native American Indians. Watches cowboy shows, I guess. The kid was freaked out when he was 1 year old. He thought he saw a ghost coming out of the basement. That comes into play later. You think that it's something else, but it's actually a ghost that he allegedly saw. It never occurs to them that there's something to that, and that it isn't a ghost. That there's a creature. Yeah. That's real. But yeah, there's. In the beginning, they hand over this, the student hands him a rock, big rock, which comes into play later on. There's a lot of little subtle things that come into play later on. Not sure how the rock ended up in his hands again at the end, because what he did with it. But the guy, so this, it's called a student rock. Yeah. They keep saying Sabamnim a lot, because they mean Mr. or Ms. But that's pretty much in there. Sajanim 2. These are Korean words. We have a lot of like suggested business deal things going on. He's suggesting that kind of like the father guy, the rich guy, is not necessarily honest about, like, he might be wanting to have cheat, but he doesn't actually go there. There's a scene in which they're all trapped in a rainstorm, which is the crux of the story, where the ex-maid comes back frantically. She wants to get back in because secretly, down in the basement, remember the kid with the ghost? Down in the basement is her husband, who's or Paramar, husband or lover, hiding down in the basement. He's been living there since before the house was founded. So it turns out the parasite in the movie is not necessarily just the Parks. It's also this homeless husband guy. And there's a rainstorm. The rich people have gone out camping, but they come back. So they're on their way back in the same night. and they're like, "Oh crap, we gotta fix up the house and everything." Then the maid and the husband get trapped downstairs and injured, and the maid's dying. The maid lady, that's the other lady, and the mother and the father park, and the others are a bunch of them hide under the table. Under the table, well, the parents have come home and they don't know they're there, and they start having sex, even though they can't tell that they're under the table. You don't really see much, so it's not like that. It's a very, very modest. They grope each other. The husband and wife grope each other. Especially, they don't even show any boobs, so whatever. Only reason it's rated R is because, oddly enough, some of the subtitled fuck. Yes, they say fuck a few times. They say the F word. Oh, I'm gonna get demonetized. No, this video will not be monetized anyway. So, but yeah, they say the F word 5 times in dialogue in Korean. I'm surprised they flagged it for that. But yeah, there was violence at the end. For some reason, they decided in the course of the same day, the 2 rich people, or wealthy people, I guess upper class people, decided to throw a kid's birthday party because kid's out there in the tent. He's got a teepee out there and he's watching in the rain. Parents mating out the window. They can see him. He's like, nah, he can probably see that. But no, they didn't really show anything. So, when they're under the table, it's kind of comedically ridiculous right there because you have like the Parasite people hiding under this big table, big huge table, coffee table, big coffee table, and you have them on the other side, and that's like they can't see, they couldn't hear them. Well, that's Hollywood type of movie for you. It's like they can't see, hear, or smell them. They do smell them on occasion though, which is interesting. It's like they smell their subway smell. So they throw a birthday party, and they have the spoilers. Obviously, I'm going to give it all away. They throw a birthday party, and the son is dumb enough to take the education rock, big thick rock thing, big enough to bonk somebody with, to go down to the basement while they're not looking. So well, he's not evil. He is an antagonist. The intruder parasite kid. He was necking with the girl. That's all that happened. Next with the girl. Then later on, he goes down in the basement to check on the maid and the husband are down there and mortally wounded. Apparently, the maid lady is dead. The first maid, and she's down there. And she would stink, but it's only been like 24 hours, so maybe she doesn't yet reek heavily. So these rich people in the story are oblivious to virtually everything. There's all these warning signs that this other family is totally evil and parasitic and antagonistic, and they have no clue because it's a dark comedy. They just don't know. So it's a better movie 43 than movie 43 was. Oh, yeah, way better than that. But yeah, yeah. So you've got. So the kid goes, he's not a kid, he's like 18 or something, 18 and a half, 19. He goes down there into the basement, and of course the husband guy's waiting there to trap him. It's like really obvious. He's going to be down there, he's going to like bludgeon him or choke him or something. And sure enough, he's got a line of where he's going to choke him. They both escape upstairs, but not before the young adult is bludgeoned with the rock. And then he's out. And the crazy husband guy, enraged with blood all over his face from banging his head on the wall to send Morse code to the kid, which you would think would alert the kid immediately, that the little kid, that there's something, that the ghost is real and it's making the lights do this. Nobody checks this. This family's oblivious to everything. The lights are making Morse code. That comes up later. Little subtle things in here that I don't think the Oscar people actually saw. I think they just read a synopsis of the movie for 10 minutes, saw the trailer. This is how they usually do it anyway. And said, okay, it gets a picture nod, even if they didn't really. I mean, it is clever, but for a foreign film, extremely stylish and very much in the vein of a manga or a Japanese manga, even though it's Korean. Very much in the vein of some of the other Korean actioners. But it's what, Oscar Best Picture? No. Unless you're saying best of the year based on, well, there was nothing else. But this year there were some other movies. Anyway, yeah, there's a crazy man goes out and kills some of the family members and some of the parasites. And guy that got bludgeoned on the head, and crazy man dies. Guy that got bludgeoned on the head, his sister died. His sister was in it the whole time. She was one of the characters. She was the English teacher. She was the art counselor. They made this up. The boy was an English teacher, allegedly, an English tutor. The teenage boy, the 18-year-old. The art teacher girl who befriends the little kid who's like 10 or 11 she's the art instructor. She discovers the story about the ghost. The mother is a part-time maid, so she could do a maid. The father guy is a chauffeur, so he could do the chauffeur job. So that's kind of what the characters are, the parasite characters. And there's the husband down there who was in North Korea during the war, and comes up, because there was a war in the 50s. I guess he's really old, but apparently really, really powerful. And when he gets mad rage from down there after bonking his head and stuff, he apparently has superpowers that allow him to go out and take out 3 or 4 people at a birthday party. It was really graphic, like messed up, like kitchen knife wielding scene. Yeah, that part's cool, but for being messed up and all. But yeah, that's definitely horror at that point. Yeah. So, even on vacation, my mother interrupts me from miles away. Now, back to during the movie when there was no movie review for like hours and hours. Anyway, so Parasite. Yeah, I was almost done like spoiling the movie. And yes, pretty much, yeah, there's a fight at the end. I was pretty much done. They find the survivors. They don't find the father The father, the Kim father, he's still hiding. He's gone back in the basement. He's hiding in the basement. So when the next family comes along, he's the parasite. And then there's this weird sequence in which the son who has recovered, and he's kind of nuts now, and he's laughing, kind of like the Joker a little bit. And he somehow reads the Morse code because from the lights flickering, somebody new has occupied the murder house. It's now a murder house. Somebody's occupied the house, and a German family, and we don't see them, but we get a long diatribe in Morse code, which would be really hard to do. That the father guy is all right, and that he's in the basement, and that he has, and that so the kid decides someday, the son decides someday I'll buy the house, I'll make things right, buy the house, go in there and rescue you, and there's a scene where he does that, but it's a dream apparently, because then they cut to him about to do that, and roll credits. So there's I don't know why they thought the con artist son who survived should do that. I guess the mother survived too, the con artist's mother, but the daughter was killed in the attack. But not the teenager. I think the teenager survived. Maybe she died too. Yeah. So, so there was this weird respect scene at one point. The two father guys respect. They said respect to each other before the action was going on. The attack. This movie is odd. I don't hate it. Like some of the internet people are like really hating on the movie just because it's a foreign film and they don't like them foreign films. That's not fair. It is a good movie. For a dark comedy horror movie. I would say more horror than dark comedy. Certainly not thriller, except for the very last part. But yeah, dark comedy. It's fine. It's best foreign film of the year. If it was going to be nominated late for a Claire Award, then yeah. It also made a shit ton of money overseas. So that's why the Oscars liked a movie to make overseas. But here, not so much. It's made 250 million overseas. Here, a little less than that. 111 million, 12 million. What was it? 11 million to make. I don't know if the gross product's over is 280 million, which is, considering that the movie was done on a budget of 11 million. Well, with inflation, that would be probably closer to 13 million. Your box office was 236 altogether, 0.5, which is incredible for a movie that only had 11 million. But that's because of the Oscar buzz, which made it go viral after that. Everybody saw it. I don't think it necessarily, serves the Oscar for Best Picture. It's fine. I can see why they didn't do The Irishman. That would have been boring. 1917, for instance, was a better movie than this one. That was fine as a war picture. There was another one. I forgot that one. I would have been okay with that one if it got it. That was the guy that did Birdman. But yeah, the Oscar people gave that one an Oscar. People complained. Why did that movie get an Best Picture? But that movie was kind of awesome. Why did Shape of Water get it? I doubt the Oscar people watched Shape of Water all the way through. I think they watched the part where the sea monster showed her old movies, and that's all they watched. It's a great movie. Deserved Best Picture that year, but I doubt they watched it. So, the Oscar people they probably, if they still do it like they did in the 90s, they probably do. You have them view parts of a movie, like the plot points of the movie, then they rate it, and the acting in it, based on the parts. They don't watch the whole film, they watch parts of the film. These are the high points, the highlights of the film, and then say whether it should be Best Picture. They don't actually watch it like we film fans do. We go and watch the whole picture and review it, and then say whether it's any good. We should do it right. Popularity-wise. Oh, incidentally, I guess this came out in December somewhere. Yeah, a late movie. Yeah, it came out in May overseas though, but it came out here in Cannes, and then came here in November and December. Didn't come officially in wide release here until December. It was out December. The audience that I saw what they showed previews, a bunch of boring movies. I can't say any of them were any good. Coming up, there's a weird Korean Pixar movie coming out. The New Year's dinner. That might be interesting. But as for the other stuff, it's not Pixar though. It's like Asian Korean Pixar. Anyway, Parasite. It gets Best Foreign Film if it was a belated Claire Award. It does not get Best Picture. In the thriller category, Joker still gets it. Or comedy category, Joker still gets it. Comedy was Dora. So Joker still would have gotten it anyway. I've seen Parasite now, and it's fine. It's not a crowd-pleasing movie, really. You have to be into foreign films and subtitled films and stick with it. There are stretches of it that are really hard to follow. If you're not familiar with some of the lingo and stuff, and just watching the visuals that are pretty going across the screen, you're not going to get it. That said, this was in the smallest theater of a 20-screen theater. It is, early March now. And it's the first movie of March to be reviewed. And it's not even a March movie. It's from a while back. And I was in a theater that had a capacity of probably 26. It was a smaller theater. 27? 30 maybe? There were 3 of us. This is an Oscar-winning, super amazing movie that everyone's going to see. There were 3 of us in the theater, me and 2 other people. There was a dude that came in, like, right about when it started, and sat, like, 3 seats down. And there was a lady that came in, walked all the way to the back, up at the top, about 5 minutes into the movie, and sat in the back. It was over. All 3 of us walked out. So that tells you how popular it actually is here. But everywhere else... But then again, SpongeBob SquarePants 2 had only 2 people in the theater. And that was opening day for that one. Now SpongeBob SquarePants 3 is coming out later on. So we'll see if there's 2 of us in the theater for that one. Like, why do they keep making these? But yes, Parasite, which is referencing the parasite and the family parasites, and bugs and stuff. Oh, at one point the rain floods out the basement apartment so that it's like sewage. Well, they simulated it. Really gross. And yeah, so class struggle thing going on. You'd think at that point they would have given up. They would have said, "Okay, we're con artists. We got back to our house, but it's completely decimated. We got stuck in the amphitheater. Let's give up and not go back there ever." They would all be alive if they just said, "All right, well, let's just not go back there. Let's just cut our losses and just, you know, those 2 people that are down in the basement won't be released, so they'll die. We would just avoid the bad guy altogether by not going back into the house." Yeah, but the horror tropes had to happen. You see, he had to be the Jason Voorhees kind of thing. Anyway, Parasite.